So welcome guys. In this video we are going to talk about the matrix exponential. So essentially we are going to start with some lemmas. Okay, the first lemma is as following. Lemma 1, let's just call it. If A is a square matrix, A is a square matrix, so essentially A can be a n cross n matrix, and you look at the series. Yes, the series summation n equals to 0 to infinity, so I'm not writing all that. I mean, I'll skip it, and this is n factorial, right? And this series, clear, this I mean, we want to talk about whether this series converges or not. So we are saying that this series converges absolutely. Okay, so absolutely converges. This series absolutely converges. What does that mean? So essentially, I mean, you have to show that you take any particular, term. I mean, so essentially, you take one some term, any an, I mean, the nth term, yes, and sum it up. You take the norm of that and sum it up from 0 to infinity. If that converges, then the series converges. So let's look at the proof. The proof is actually very easy. Okay, the proof is essentially, you see, and one thing is this: if I can show that this series converges, yeah, absolutely, then it means that this series also converges, right? Okay, so because we know that a sequence of matrices, they converge if and only if, I mean, we know that if the, I mean, infinite series absolutely converges, then the series also converges, right? Okay, so how do you show that? So let's take a general term and look at how it behaves. So the norm of at whole power n by factorial n, this can of course be dominated by mod t times norm a by n factorial times n, right? I mean, we can of course do that. I mean, there is nothing uh, to show here, right? I mean, you just take 1 by n factorial common, and then at whole power n, you take the norm of that. That is of course the mod of t. So basically the absolute value of t times the norm of a, the norm of so this is coming from the the properties of the norm, which we have discussed in the earlier videos. Okay, and so we have this particular thing, and of course, what is this term? So what is so special about this term? Because this term, if you I mean, look at it carefully, it is basically in the nth term. So let's say this particular term is the nth term, right? This is the nth term of the series exponential mod t norm a. Yes or no? See, mod t is a real number, right? Of course it is, because t is real, right? And a is a matrix, but the when you were talking about the norm of a matrix, that becomes a real number. So e power mod t norm a, that's essentially e power some real, right? Which as far as the series is concerned, we know that this is I mean, that's a valid thing to talk about, right? So you talk about the series of this exponential times whatever it is, mod t norm a, okay, and what is the n, the general n term? That term is given by mod t norm a whole power n by factorial n, right? And we are done. So essentially, and we know that since this is the nth term of the scalar exponential, right? What can you say? This is of course, I mean, if you I mean, use the comparison of principle. Okay, so using the comparison theorem, now I am just using real analysis. So this is the point of all of this. See, the structure of, let's say, if you are working with a space of a set of matrices and all. Yes, generally in a vector space we do not have that the monotonicity, that ordering, right? What we do is, we actually, that is why this is the main importance of the norm. What it does is, it actually reduces those problems to real, and then we talk about, then we use that idea from the real analysis to gain whatever we want to achieve. So using comparison principle for series, so comparison principle for series, or comparison theorem, whatever you want to call it, okay, of series, we have, so if you take the sum on both sides, the infinite sum, of course summation 0 to infinity at whole power n by factorial n, that is less than infinity. Clear? Okay. Norm of this thing. Yeah, if you take norm, or if you take the sum on both sides here, you do realize, then I mean this sum is finite because this is exponential mod t norm a, and of course then by comparison principle the right left hand side is also going to be a finite thing, right? And once it is finite, this is true, so this implies that it converges absolutely, right? It converges absolutely. And what did we know up till now? That if a series converges absolutely, of course the series of matrices we are talking about, I mean it definitely holds for a real part, but here we are just talking about matrices. So we know that if summation an converges, I'm just taking shortcut here, absolutely, then summation an converges, right? So this we already know. So hence what can we say? Therefore we can say that summation at whole power n by factorial this also converges. Okay, now the question is this: where does it converge? Where does this particular thing converge? Of course it converges absolutely and everything is fine, but the question now is where does all this series converge? Okay, it converges, right? So that is the I mean, to answer that question we are going to write down the second lemma here. So lemma 2. Now you do realize that I mean, if it converges, it has to converge to something, you know, I mean, of course it converges to something. We will specify that particular thing as your exponential at. Yes, so that's your exponential. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to write down that sum, we are going to write it as exponential at. Clear? So for every real t, for t in R, essentially capital T, of course greater than 0, okay, the series, so essentially my question is this: where does the series I mean how does the series converge? Okay, not where but how, and of course where, I mean that's always there. So this converges, the series converges, that we saw, but it converges uniformly. Clear? It converges uniformly, yes, on this is interval t such that mod t less than capital T. So once you fix a capital T positive, so you can say the series converges uniformly. Okay, so this is your usual real analysis what we do. So essentially what does it say? That is, let's just put it this way, i.e. for every t positive, right? For every t positive, epsilon positive, yes, there exists a naught in n such that if n is greater than n naught, clear, and mod t is less than t, yes, then it means that summation 0 to infinity, 0 to n, 0 to n at power n by n factorial minus exponential at, that is less than epsilon. Clear? So essentially what am I saying is this particular series converges to exponential at. Now we don't know what exponential at is, we are just defining it like this. So basically we are saying it converges, and where does it converge? It converges to something, some matrix which we are naming it as exponential at. Clear? Yeah, I mean I think that should be clear. So we are writing exponential at I mean as that sum. Clear? As this sum, as n tends to infinity, of course. Yes. Okay, so basically as n grows, this sum goes very near to exponential at. So basically you can think of exponential at as this particular I mean series, right? That's how we define it. So let's look at the proof of this thing. I mean, again, the proof is not very difficult to do. What we need to do is summation 0 to n at whole power n by n factorial minus e power at. This we need to make it very small, right? How do you make it? If you remember last video, in the last lesson, we looked at this particular thing. So this sum that can be of course dominated by the norm of mod of a norm a whole power n by n factorial. I mean, if you do not remember this, this is also included in the assignment. This is nothing but a triangle inequality, but you have to have that, you have to pass to the limit. That is one, small detail which you need to deal with. Otherwise, I mean, this is just a triangle inequality, but in a infinite form, that sort of thing. So this, of course, this is true, right? So this is from the assignment problem. And once this is true, you can of course write it like summation n equals to capital N plus 1 to infinity capital T norm A whole power n by n factorial. I think this is fine because mod T is always dominated by capital T, and hence this is true. Yes, now once this is true, of course, what does that say? It says that since e power capital T norm A. See, now we are using the uniform convergence of this particular series. Okay, this exponential capital T norm A, this converges, right? This converges here. Okay, so hence for sufficiently large n, what can I say? That I mean, hence LHS, I mean, I don't know how do I put it. I mean, you do realize that if this particular thing, if exponential capital T times norm A converges for a large n of n, what will happen? The tail of this series becomes extremely small, right? So the left hand side will be dominated by an extremely small number. I mean, you can do that epsilon delta thing. I'm not writing that. Hence, left hand side is small. Okay, provided n is sufficiently large, right? So please do that mathematics part. Large, I mean, nothing to do here. I mean, you do realize that if this see exponential capital T norm A converges, so basically the tail, this is the tail, this part is the tail of that series, right? That tail becomes extremely small. That's your real analysis. Clear? I mean, this is real. We are not doing any matrixing here. So once that is very small, for large n, that is very small, right? And hence this becomes less than epsilon. So that's it. Now the question is this. So why are we suddenly talking about exponentiality? So essentially what you want to do is we can define. So now we can just define it like this, right? Define exponentiality. So there is nothing to define. We actually did it like this only. It is going to be what? It is identity plus at plus a square t square by 2 factorial plus a cube t cube by 3 factorial plus, and it goes on like this. Essentially this is I mean, we are doing it for A, which is a n cross n matrix, and that's your exponential of at. T is in R. Yes, T is in R, which is given to us. I mean, I do not care what it is. It can be 0 also. If T is 0, you do realize. So essentially, you do realize that if T equals to 0, everything is gone except the identity term. And so exponential kind of 0 matrix, yes, is your identity matrix. That's kind of, we do expect that to happen. Now the question is this. See, our question is, I need to solve the homogeneous linear system, right? So our aim is this. Aim is to solve the homogeneous linear system. Homogeneous linear system. Linear system. How do you think we can solve it? See, so for that I am going to write down the theorem. So this is the existence theorem, yeah, but now I'm not going to prove it right now, yeah, because we need some more material. So this is like some basics has to be done before doing this thing, okay, but still let me just write it down. So for every, okay, maybe I can write it like this: B in Rn, the problem. So we discussed this thing in the discussion class also this Monday. The problem x prime equals to ax, okay, and x at the point 0, that is going to be B. Clear? So that has a unique solution, okay, which is given by the formula, xt. Now again, if you remember the global existence uniqueness theorem, which we talked about but did not prove, this problem for a constant coefficient, of course we are taking a to be a constant coefficient problem here, yeah. It's a is a constant coefficient matrix, yeah. So it does not depend on t. Now, for this sort of problem with the initial condition, initial data, we know that the solution is going to be unique. So that's always there. Unique where? Unique in the whole, whatever t, wherever t is defined. So in this case, t is defined in R. So x is depending on t, right? X depends on t. This t is varying in R or some identity, I mean in some interval I, right? I mean R or I depends on the problem, but essentially wherever it is defined, so basically the solution is global, right? So the formula is this, you see, it is e power at times b, yeah. Now do not get confused here, don't write it like b times e power at, right? That won't work, because see, e power at, this is I mean by definition you can see that if A is a n cross n matrix, e power at is a n cross n matrix, clear? So this is a n cross n matrix, B has to be a n cross n vector, right? So that's basically a column vector. B has to be a column vector, right? Otherwise that thing won't make sense. So basically X will also be a column vector, okay? So don't write it, please. Remember, xt equals to b e power at does not make sense. Makes sense in this case, okay? In real case, you see, if capital A in real case, so in real case, okay, what I mean by real case is for just a equation, okay? So let's say x prime equals to small a x, okay, small a x. This a is just a number 2, 3, 8, 2.9, whatever, yes. So with x0 equals to, let's say, some b, and b is not a vector here, b is in some number, okay, anyway, anything 7, let's say. So in real case, if you are looking at this thing, then you know that xt, that implies xt equals to, I mean you can of course write it like b e power at, right, or xt equals to e power at times b, because here these are all real numbers and you can, you know, commute it. But they are here, these are matrices. This is a n cross, exponential is a n cross n matrix, that's a n cross 1 matrix, right? So I mean it may be a problem commuting those things. I mean it's not, it may be, it is always a problem, clear? So please make sure exponential is first and then comes your b, so your, you know, initial data. Now I need to prove this thing, but the problem here is this: if I need to prove this thing, you see, I need to find out what x prime t is. X prime t, if I go via definition, so let's try and prove it, okay? And so I'm not doing the proof, so this is just a attempt, let's say. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to do is, let us attempt to solve this thing. What can we get? Xt minus x, okay, for now let's do it for t plus h, right? Let's do it for x t plus h minus xt by h. Let's look at this particular term. So limit h tends to 0, that goes to x prime of t. That should be the definition, right? Okay, this is the definition we are dealing with. So that essentially, I mean, of course that makes sense also, it's not a problem. So that is given by x of a plus so basically if xt equals to, so see here the formula is given there that xt should look like that. Now what we are saying is, we are just trying to see that if such a thing satisfies the equation or not, then only we are done, right? Okay, let's just check that part. So if you need to check that part also, that is given by a t plus h minus e power at by h, right? So now you see this thing, you have to write it like, let's say, at times e power ah minus e power at by h. Question is, can I write it like this? Can I write this thing like this? See, of course, if it is a real num, I mean, if we are doing it in a, you know, general real setting, then of course those are true. That's not a point. But here we have to be very, very careful because A is a matrix. A is a n cross n matrix, right? And we don't know whether this thing is true or not. Clear? Okay, so let's say this is true. Let's just assume this is true. So if this is true, then I can take e power at, common, and it becomes e power ah minus identity by h. Clear? Okay, and then e power ah minus identity is basically ah plus a square by 2 factorial god, and it goes on. When that is getting divided by h, you are going to be left out with a. So e power at times a. That's your that's the thing which you are going to get. Okay. Now, of course, you have to. This is the solution which you are getting, e power at times a. Okay. Now, what do you think? Does it look like it solves the problem? Okay, that's the question. Does it look like it solves the problem? So we have to deal with all that sort of thing, that whether this particular thing, see, if we are doing it like this, then now this thing, you can think of this as x prime of t, right? Okay, and what happens to this this particular term? This becomes, as limit h tends to 0, this converges to this. Okay, this is not essentially this, but it is converges as h tends to 0, right? Okay, so now that is e power ta times a. Okay, now what do you do with that? How do you prove that it is e to the power ta times b? Okay, so all those questions lingers, and we are not quite sure that how to deal with these matrices and everything. Okay, so for that we are going to talk more about some properties of matrix. Right. So the first property, very, very important property, is this. See, first thing first. Here, you have to understand that I just wrote it like this. Yes. X, what is a function x? X is a function, if you think about it, x is a function from t, let's say r, t is in r. So x is in from R to what is x of t? X of t is giving you back a column matrix. So basically a matrix, right? Matrix, which is a n cross 1 matrix, right? So x is a matrix valued function, yes, with a domain in R or I, whatever it is. So basically a real domain, but a matrix valued function. Okay. So for that, do we know that x prime 2, do we know that x prime t is given by x of t plus h and all? Okay, so for that, first thing first, let us fix this notation. So first thing what we are going to do is we are going to define this thing. So if phi of t is a matrix valued function, okay, matrix valued function, okay, then we say phi is continuous at t. We have to know first of all what does it mean by continuity, right? If Tn converging to 2e implies phi of Tn converges to phi of t. Okay, so essentially we already know what the, see, Tn converges to t, this converges in easier in terms of real convergence, right? Because Tn and t are real numbers. Now here, if that converges, this also has to converge. This convergence is with respect to the sequence, matrix convergence. Phi of Tn is a matrix. For every n, phi of Tn is a matrix. So it's basically, you can think of this as a an. So an converges to some a, kind of, yes. So that convergence, we already talked about that convergence. So that is there. Clear? That is continuity. Now again you can say that phi is differentiable at t, clear? It is differentiable at t. Okay, when if limit s tends to 0, phi of t plus h minus phi of t by h. Okay, this is equals to some number. So let's say I don't know, maybe let's call it L. Okay, and so basically it is differentiable, and this L is essentially your phi prime at the point T. Okay, so L is defined like this. Clear? So this is what we are defining. Yeah, so this is our definition. It's not like we are deriving it from somewhere. That's our definition, that if it's a phi is a matrix value functions, then all of this is true. Clear? Okay, now let's prove one property of the exponential, the important property, the first property, or maybe I can just write it as a lemma 3. I think we already proved two lemmas, so you can make that up. So the exponential, so basically you see t going to e power at. Yes, if I'm asking you what sort of function is it, that's a matrix value function, of course that is. I mean, do you think it is a continuous function? I mean, there is an exponential term involved, yes, and I mean definitely you can it's quite natural to think of this as a continuous function, and it is continuous function. So it is continuous, it is actually differentiable. Moreover, you can say that the map, so let me write it like this: the map t going to e power at is continuously differentiable. Clear? It is continuously differentiable. It is continuously differentiable. Function of t and what about the derivative of this thing? This is very important. Okay, why it is important? Because we are actually talking about y prime and small x prime. You remember, for the systems we have to talk about derivatives, right? That will be given by a e power at. Okay, or in this case, please remember this does not hold all the time, but in this case it will be, you can also write it as e to the power at times a. Clear? So here a is a n cross n matrix, it's a n cross n matrix, e power at is a n cross n matrix. Again, this is a n cross n matrix and this is a n cross n matrix, right? So what we are saying is you can commute it. Okay, so commutativity is there. Commutative. Okay, this is only here. I mean, of course, if a and b commutes, then you can replace a e power bt equals to e power at times b. You can do that, but I mean, generally here, of course, since a and a commutes, this happens. Okay, we will talk about this property again, but essentially the important part here is if you are taking the derivative of exponential at, that is going to give you a exponential at or exponential at times a. This is a very few instances where you can interchange the order. Remember this, very important. Here, right? Now let's look at the proof of this thing. I'm giving you a very short proof, because this is more or less standard thing to do. So let's assume that you see the CD, each term, yes, that is basically here e power at. Let's say e power at. How does it look like? Let's look at. So essentially this is 0 to infinity at whole power n by n factorial. Clear? Yes. So if you take, let's look at this thing, d dt of at whole power n by n factorial. Let's do that. Okay, what do you think happens here? So if you just take the derivative here, okay, that will be n a n. So basically with respect to t, I mean a does not have to, I mean a has nothing to do here. I mean a is just a fixed matrix, right? So a n a, I will write it like this: a t power n minus 1 by n factorial. Clear? N factorial does not change, so that is that. So that is given by n a t whole power n minus 1 by n factorial times a. Clear? I can change this. I mean, you can of course see that I can change this. Order. That is fine. Yeah, it's not a problem. Okay. Now, even if you are not convinced here, we will do it later. Don't worry about it. Okay. So it is true. We will do it in a proposition. Okay. So if that is true, So then what happens is, if you are taking the infinite sum, okay, if you are taking the infinite sum, so you do realize how this is coming, right? I mean, there is I'm not doing this part, you guys can do it. This is exactly the same thing which we did here, okay, of course assuming all of this is true. Okay, so you see, e power a t plus h is I mean, this breakup is there. So e power a t times e power a h, these things you can do it just by writing it down in the definition. Okay, of course in the definition this is true, so that please I mean, do this part. E power t plus h, if you replace here t with t plus h, you do realize that you can just break it up into two parts, and it is going to be e to the power a t times e to the power h. So you guys can handle it yourself. Okay, so now what happens is, I have to do the derivative for an infinite series. Okay, right. Now you see, d dt of summation 0 to n, capital N, sorry, at times n by n factorial. Okay, so for I mean, for a big enough capital N, we are doing it like this. So that is given by capital A, yes, summation what was there, n 80. Okay, so this is 1, n equals to 0 is gone, right, because of the derivative. N equals to 1 to n 80 times n minus 1 by n minus 1 factorial. Clear? Okay, so that is there. So this is given by, again, summation n equals to 1 to n 80 power n minus 1 by n minus 1 factorial times a. Okay, so when I'm changing this, you see, when I'm changing this order, a with this thing or this thing with a, how can we do that? I mean, there is nothing much to do here. You see, here also we are doing the same exact thing. Okay, just put it in that equation, you can see that you can change the order. That's not a problem. Okay, because I mean, it is a power n, right? You can just write it as a power n minus 1 times a, or a times a power n minus 1. So that is what I'm just doing. Yeah, so there is nothing much to think about here. Okay, so that is there. Now so therefore what happens is, summation n equals to 1 to capital N, okay, at times n minus 1 by n minus 1 factorial, that is given by summation some 0 to n minus 1, let's say, at whole power m by m factorial. Clear? Okay, that's what we get from this particular from this thing, at sorry, from this particular thing. Okay, we get that summation n equals to 1 to n 80 whole power n minus 1 by n factorial is given by 0 to n minus 1 80 times a, because you know, just change the, how can I put it, that in the index, yes, just change the index and you get this, right? Now as n tends to infinity, this series, yeah, let's call it 1 converges to e power at. Okay, and the convergence is uniform. For t bounded. You remember that for t less than equal capital T, we can show that the convergence is uniform. So essentially the convergence is uniform, and hence, you know, by real analysis, by you know, using real analysis, you can say that the derivative of e power at. So therefore, so since this convergence is uniform, so all of this makes sense essentially what I'm trying to say. Then d dt of e power at, that is going to be, from here you can see that it is a times, and this particular thing, where does it converge? It converges to e power at. So it is a e power at. And how does this is and how is this coming? I mean, that is nothing. You just write e power at multiplied by a, and a square can be written like this, right? So let's say a to the power n can be written like this: a n minus 1 or a n minus 1 times a, right? And you use this thing and you write it like this. So basically ddt or e power at, you can write it like this because of the convergence, okay, to e power at. Anyway, okay, now the second lemma 4 maybe, yeah, and this is the last part of this video. What we are going to do is we are going to show that the exponential of, so the zero matrix, that's your identity. That's what I said, right? Exponential of 0 is identity. And then exponential, very important property, this one, yes, exponential a is invertible. Okay, what does that mean? See, I mean, I really do not have to prove that exponential 0 is identity. Okay, that you guys already know. Okay, it's just put it in the definition. So trivial, yes, proof. The first part is trivial. Exponential 0 is identity, trivial. Okay, now the second part, how is exponential a invertible? What does it mean? Exponential a is an n cross n matrix. I need to show it is invertible. So let's just do it like this. See, we know that if you can write it like this, so let's say define, okay, phi of s, that's a matrix value function, is given by e power as times e power minus as. I can write it like this. Okay, so for any s in R, I am just defining it like this. So s positive, s negative, e power as times e power minus a. Just let us write it like this. Okay. Now, if you do that, what is phi prime of s? Can you calculate what phi prime of s is? It is the derivative of this thing. So Leibniz rule and all of this do work here. Okay. I mean, if I have to prove all of that, then it becomes very lengthy. But you do realize, because everything is more or less same, the Leibniz rule also works here. Okay. So if I do that, then it is the derivative of this times this, right? So it will become e power as, okay, and plus a, right, times e power minus as. Clear? Okay, so e power as, I am just taking the derivative, it is e power as times a, or a times e power as, does not matter. Okay, plus e power, and now I am taking the derivative of this particular thing. Clear? So e power as is there. Please don't change this. See, even if Leibniz rule is true, don't change this ordering. First of all, first write down this thing, differentiate this, or I mean differentiate this, write this down after that. Okay, after that, don't change the order. Okay, so e power as first of all, and then you are differentiating this thing. So essentially, no, this is I should write it properly, otherwise you may get confused. So please, I mean, remember the Leibniz rule here. Huh? It is a little you have to keep a caution, huh? Otherwise it may be a problem. So let me write it down. Phi prime of s is dds, okay, of e power as times e power minus as, okay, plus e power as, don't change it here, okay, dds of e power minus as. Clear? Okay, so don't change the order. I mean, you can't write it like dds of e power as times e power minus as times e power as. Huh? Don't change that thing. So that ordering should be there. So that is given by e power as times a, e power minus as, plus e power as times minus a, e power minus as. Clear? Okay, I'm just writing this part here. Okay, see here, what is it? It is a e power as, which is actually e power as times a. Okay, so that I am writing it like here, and here dds of e power minus as is minus a times e power as. Okay, so why I wrote it in the, so this I wrote it in this part form, and this I wrote it in this form, just to make this thing disappear. So this becomes 0. So that will imply, therefore, phi is constant. Okay, if phi is constant, what is phi of 0? That is going to be an identity matrix, right? Phi of 0 is going to be identity. So if that is identity, that will give you what is phi of, it is e power, if you remember, if it is e power as times e power minus as. Okay, so that will give us, if phi of 0 is identity, that is going to give us that phi of 1 is identity. Clear? Phi is constant. So if phi of 0 is identity, since phi of 0 is identity, phi of 1 is identity, that will give you that what is it, e power a equals to e power minus a. Clear? See, so it becomes e power a times e power minus a is identity, right? Okay, so e power a is e power minus a whole inverse. Clear? So that will give you e power a whole inverse, sorry. Okay, clear? So with this we are okay. The last property which I am going to write it down, but I want you guys to prove this property yourself. The property says that the last property, okay, so this I am not writing it as a lemma because I am not proving it. If AB equals to BA, this is what I am just using all the time. If AB equals to BA, then okay, very important property, A times e power B is B times e power A. Okay, e power A times e power B is e power B times e power A. So basically, you know, you can change the ordering, but only if A and B commutes. Okay, and also very important, e power A plus B is given by e power A times e power B. So these very important, very simple, property of exponential, which is always valid in real. Here it is only valid if A and B commutes. Okay. So with this we are going to end this thing. This is for your assignment. Okay.